terms of the students that should be receiving this, and somehow they thought it was tomorrow. Therefore, what can I tell you? I explained if they were able to contact us students, please do so. If not, I got his citations with my life, so it'll be fine. Yeah, please continue it, because I think they were extremely hard at this. And it shows that in elementary level we used to teach social studies.
Next item, proposal to abandon Moore Avenue. The name is under Mr. Brin. The first part of that is a public hearing, so I'd entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved, Mr. President.
Motion by Mrs. Zelinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bottioli. Roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottioli? Yes. Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadeney?
Yes. So this time we will take public comment on the town's abandonment of Moore Avenue. Is there anyone wishing to come up and speak? Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Rafco, 25 Old Greenville Road. When the town abandons a street, do they ask for any type of compensation as an offset that you're going to give that property away? Normally, if the property was in private hands, I would be selling it to the abutters, and I would get a small amount of money, whether it's $5,000, $7,000, $10,000. Has the town ever considered when they abandon streets that there's going to be an advantage to the abutters, that their property is going to expand, they're going to have use of the property, and the town is going to give up that right? Should you be asking for some kind of compensation? A small compensation. I'm not asking for, I'm not saying $100,000.
I believe, Mike, that they acquire that land and then their taxes are adjusted for that increase in land.
But it's peanuts. It's more valuable as an abandonment than it is for the increase in taxes. It's pennies on the taxes. But if I have a piece of property and there's a street next to me, now I have an extra yard to play it. I can put a swimming pool on it. You know, there's a benefit. So there is a benefit to these abutters, and maybe they should try to make a contribution to the town. I'm sure the town can use it somewhere. Whether you want to use it for some of the small parks that we have, the playgrounds, that we need playground equipment, let the abutters come up with an agreement to make a contribution to the town. Either the council makes a decision or asks for a contribution that's going to give you a couple $1,000s, maybe $5,000, $7,000, let it split between the abutters. Thank you.
Mr. Radko, this road, as you know, it's a paper road and really serving no purpose. With the extra 20 feet roughly to each abutting house lot, there is a potential to maybe put in a swimming pool, a shed, or some type of outside structure which would generate a few more dollars in taxes. But in a case like this where it's not leading to the development or of other house lots which could put a drain on our tax basis for required services, to me, I look at this as just giving this to the people. If all those folks are involved in this, that gives them a chance to own that property and maybe put a shed in the backyard or something. It's not a lot of money that they would be contributing, but it's all more like a goodwill gesture. But again, Mike, if we're going to abandon the road or do something that was going to lead into more development, I would say no. That's just how I look at it.
Well, can't the council ask for contribution?
Yeah, from $1 to what?
Let the abutters make a decision. You want to make a couple $1,000 donation to Parks and Rec, that you're getting land, no problem. That way you don't have to set a dollar limit. The next time you abandon a road, ask the same question. The abutters, if it's valuable to you, are you willing to make a contribution to the Parks and Rec so that we can use the money for playground equipment or something else that we could use? Fine, no problem. That way you're not locked into the next abandonment. You can ask. You don't ask.
Yeah, you bring up a valid point. I agree with that. To me personally, I've been around for many, many years, going back to planning board. I've never seen that in a case like this where future development or commercial gains are going to be made by abandoning a town road, that we've asked for some type of stipend or some type of contribution. just haven't seen it. So it's new, trying to process it. So what I said to you originally, from $1 to how much?
If one of them says no.
Yeah.
You know, leave it to the abutters.
What if one of the abutters says no, Mike, then what do? We don't sell them that piece of land and we carve it out and we keep this little square?
No,
that belongs to the
what I'm
town?
saying is let them make a goodwill gesture. Land is valuable. If they got a benefit, it's worth some money to them, a small amount. Let them make a donation to the town. It's not a big issue, but it's a goodwill. It's a goodwill gesture. And the council doesn't have to set the limit. Give it up to the abutters. You know, if you want to be nice, you're getting some extra land, you're getting like 12 feet or whatever the 12 feet by 216 feet or whatever. Make a contribution to the Parks and Rec.
Mr. Kravitz.
Hi, just because it's coming up here, I'll just give you a quick summary of what the planning board did with the application. It was received on 1/30/19, it was certified by myself on 2/13/19 to go to the planning board, to come to this council. This council recommended planning board look at it, give an advisory opinion on February 19th of 2019, and the planning board acted in accordance with the appropriate statutes for this on 4/4/19. One of the things I did, you give this application to all the departments. It was sewer and water, just to make sure there's no utilities in the right of way, police, fire, DPW. Even if DPW pushes snow onto it, you never know what it is until it could be any reason to keep it. But they all said you can let it go. I even talked to Sarah to try to establish exactly this kind of a excess land value, what it would be. 75 cents to $1 a square foot. So for lot 52, that comes out, 1,500 to 2,000. Lot 51 is 3,339.75 to 4,453. Lot 67 would be 1,980 to 2,640. Lot 61 would be 1,058.25 to 2,011. And lot 66 would have a value of 1,498.50 to 1,998.
Tom, so you're saying that you asked the tax assessor about this, did the planning board mention it might be a good idea to get a $1 per square foot for?
They had the information as part of their packet, yeah. Every time before an application goes to the planning board, it has all the input from staff. So they would have seen those email exchanges with Sarah and I.
So having that information, Tom, they based the decision, which was unanimous, 7-0, right?
Up to you guys to what to do with that value.
Having that information, they said they would be comfortable with assessing that property for,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then you've answered my question.
Anyone else for the public hearing? Sir, just please state your name and your address.
My name is Ronald Brin, 6 Arnold Avenue, North Smithfield, Rhode Island. I've already invested $5,000 into the surveying of the property, of the road and everything, having it all advertised and everything. How much more do I have to give? Can I say something?
You address us.
You know, I've already invested over like $5,000 into having this road abandoned. How much more do I need to give to have this road abandoned? None of the other landowners have contributed anything to this project. I find it a little insulting. No offense. I understand the point.
I'll give you a rebuttal. Finish.
But that's pretty much what and Tom has been with me right along, and there was never any really mention of having to pay for the road or the portion of the road that I would be receiving. I said my piece.
Mr. Brin, I think you paid enough. Surveys are extremely expensive. I understand that.
Yeah.
What is the thought process of your neighbors? I mean, Yeah, you've taken on the financial burden of this, but your neighbors are gonna benefit from all you know. That's wonderful. That's a wonderful deed on your part.
Absolutely.
It's a great deed.
Absolutely. One portion, I think it's 52, that's owned by a bank. I haven't been able to get a hold of it. Let me see. Top right-hand side, yeah, correct. Menard, he told me right out he wasn't going to contribute to anything. Bottom right-hand side. Haven't talked to that man in 25 years since I lived there.
And he lives there.
Yeah, and he lives there.
Okay. That's right, he was in another state somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Renting his basement.
So no one's wanted to contribute to any of this, as even though they're going to be gaining as much of the road as I am, it's all been put on to me. Mr. Menard actually has his pool on the road.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, you know, I think I've given enough for all of this.
I think you have. I think you have, Mr. Brin.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Mike Rapko again. If I would have known that this landowner contributed $5,000, he's paying for the whole thing for surveys, I would have excluded him from my comments. I didn't know he was stuck with the bill for this project, that the rest of the landowners didn't want to participate and they don't want to do anything. That's a problem. So it falls on him, he's stuck with the bill, he's paying $5,000. He should not, that's his contribution, he's paying the bill. But something should be sent to the other landowners, whether it's a bank or private landowners, they should be sent a letter.
Mike, you know, the other landowners, just heard Mr. Brin, they haven't addressed, one of them is a bank, one hasn't spoken to the gentleman in 25 years. They're just going to sit back and reap the benefits. Well, my concern is I want Mr. Brin to enjoy this. He spent a lot of money.
Well, I agree with you, I agree with you.
And this
This
is
is a problem with the other abutters.
I'm sorry.
There's a problem with the other abutters.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Brin has certainly paid to do it. At this point, because it's like the first time this has happened, I'm going to make a motion to accept the abandonment of the road because Mr. Brin has done all the work. And as far as the other abutters, sometimes social loafers, they get the benefit from others' deeds and work. And I think that, I'm not calling these folks social loafers. I don't even know if they know about it because Mr. Brin has not spoken to one of them in 25 years. I don't know. But I'm going to make a motion to abandon the road.
Thank you.
But Mike, a great point for the future.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely great points.
it's unfortunate we can't send a courtesy letter to those abutters saying that they should either contribute to the individual that got stuck with the bill for the survey or make a similar contribution to the town.
Well, that's-
Do something.
Mike, that's how this works when there's an abandonment of the street. It's usually a resident that abuts the street that petitions for it. They pay to have it surveyed and mapped out. The residents pay that bill, whether it's one resident or all of the residents, and the land is split equally to those residents, whatever their frontage is, it's rolled into the debt. So there is a fee that they're paying to go forward and do this. It's not of the goodwill of the town and just say, oh yeah, let's look at abandoned road, and we do the surveying. And that's all paid for by those that are looking to have the street abandoned, they pay the street. In this case, we've researched, we've looked at it, and no one has a use for it. It's just dead land that's sitting there that we've heard now people are using it anyways. So why not turn it over to them and tax them appropriately?
No, I'm not arguing with you. What I'm saying is we should encourage the other abutters to help him pay his bill. That's the problem. It's his money, he's paying for it, and the rest of the abutters don't want to pay. So it's more of an encouragement. We should be encouraging the other abutters either help him to pay that surveying bill or make a contribution to the town.
Like in the future, I think that should it come before a planning board and Tom's still there, or whomever's in that position, before it gets any further, should say to them if there's assessment, or excuse me, if there's surveying fees or anything else, all those people, all those folks, or those that wish to contribute should be involved. There will be some that say, no, I'm going to be content just using it as I use it or not using it, leaving it as that buffer between them and the next yard over. So it's something for the future, but I think right now,
That's fine.
Mike, I mean, you know, I would contribute because I feel I have an obligation to my neighbors, but not everybody feels that way. And Mr. Brin's gone to a lot of expenses to have this happen. But we learn. I think I've learned from this.
So when it goes before planning, is it possible that the council or somebody will take action to try to share the abutters for the cost of the surveying work to make this happen?
If I were a betting man, I would say if you come before Tom Kravitz again, he would tell that person who comes in the application to say, you need to get all the abutting properties involved in this. I mean, and you explain to them that if you're going to do these expenditures, maybe someone else is not going to contribute. How much do you want this? And that may dissuade someone from going out and spending $5,000 for a survey. And then it just becomes, remains an abandoned, a paper road. So, it's a tough situation.
Right, so the plan is, the next time this comes up, we'll get the town planner involved to have a discussion with the abutters.
Well, they have to go to the town planning department anyway, so.
Okay.
I mean, if I may, the abutters received a letter from me when it went to the planning board, and they received notice from this process prior to this hearing. So if an administrative subdivision is filed, if let's say you approve it, and Mr. Brin comes in tomorrow with the administrative plan, I'm signing it, it's done. You know.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
While you're there? Since Mr. Brin pursued this, put it in that he wanted the street abandoned, and he's footing all of the bill, can that whole street be abandoned to him, all of that property, just to him if the others aren't paying for it?
I don't
Or you have
know.
to divide it equally?
Yeah, I don't believe so, unless he has a specific agreement with one property owner, which he does. Lot 51 has assigned their half to Mr. Brin, which is why the planning board granted that waiver on the dimensions, because it's going to be kind of a funky shaped lot again. So, but they did assign their area to him.
Currently, it's a pork chop lot.
Yeah.
Wait, can I ask you this? So you brought up a point, which I didn't give a thought. So by abandoning this road, which, no, never mind, I just answered my own question. Everything's fine.
What was it?
Well, I was thinking of a subdivision, administrative, so it can't be done. There's no road, there's no two frontages. Right, so I think I answered my own question.
I just have a question, maybe I missed the answer to the question. Has this lot been surveyed, and is there a deeding that street, that paper street to the towns?
The land has been surveyed.
No, I know the land's been surveyed, but is there a deed where that street was actually deeded to the town?
Well, except, Mike, I think you're searching for accepted by the town. Towns will accept roads, not the...
No, well, Tom, if you remember my situation.
Yeah, it has been surveyed, and the reference on the plan is plan entitled Bellevue Terrace, North Smithfield, Rhode Island Moving Land Trust, July 1910. It's presumably that's the plan that.
Okay, well, you remember the situation that I had with a piece of land. There was a paper street, the town thought it was a paper street, on a subdivision that my grandfather had done a gazillion years ago. That road, that paper street on the town's maps, people thought was a paper street that had been deeded to the town. If you actually do the title search on it, you found that, no, that lot, that paper street was still part of a lot that I owned. So I think we're assuming when the developers do that, the last thing that they do is they retain that paper street until all the lots on the street are sold. And if they never developed, which was the case with my situation, it belonged to the original piece of land that all of the other lots were chopped out of. So my question is, do we really know that the town owns that strip of land that they can actually deed it to someone? I know it's been surveyed, it was surveyed in 1910, but where was the transfer of that piece of land to the town of North Smithfield? I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there because
It sounds like we're on the path all over again, like, do we own it or don't we own it?
you can't give away something you don't want.
Anyone else? Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Zelinski, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bonioli. Roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli? Yes. Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Oshia?
Yes.
Mr. Swansky?
Yes.
Mr. Urban?
Yes. Next item is discussion by council vote or other action. At this time, I would entertain a motion that we approve the abandonment of Moore Avenue as recommended by the town planner and the planning board. Is there a motion?
Second for discussion.
Motion by Mrs. Bonioli, second by Mrs. Zelinski. Discussion.
Mr. Clifford brought up a valid point. In town, we have roads in town that have not been improved or approved, and then we get into some of that verbiage. I see no commercial benefit. I mean, in essence, I just brought this up to discuss. I don't see a commercial benefit to this property the road being abandoned. Great point by Mr. Clifford and Mr. Rapco. I'm content. Thanks, Mr. President.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Oshia?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes. Motion passes.